Today is November 27th, Saturday. This video is a preview of, yes, I'm finally going back to Hong Kong in the midst of COVID-19, which will be my first overseas trip in 2021, although it's already late November or late 2021, because Australia from next month, which is as in December 1st, next Wednesday, will reopen its border to international students such as me. I can go back to Hong Kong at any time, whenever I want, because I'm a Hong Kong resident. But if I go back to Hong Kong, I cannot come back to Australia because I do not have travel exemption like having face-to-face placement in the coming 2 months. So during COVID-19, during the past I think at least for more than one year and 9 months, I've been staying in Australia because of relevant border closure. But as Australia from next Wednesday, reopen this border to international students like me, yes, I am finally going back to Hong Kong to finally, meet my family and friends physically after, again, more than 1 year and 9 months. So border restrictions ease as in international ones is one of the reasons. And another reason, as some of you might know, it's my grandma, which is my dad's mum in Hong Kong, passed away 6 days ago at the age of 80. So just a bit of her background. She suffered from dementia approximately around 10 years ago. But, thankfully, when it was still her early stage of dementia, she could still come to church, as in my church in Hong Kong, to know Jesus, joining Sunday services as well. And then the year after, which is around 9 years ago from now, she was baptized to confirm Christ is her only savior, which I think it's the greatest blessing in her life. So unfortunately, yes, as COVID-19 began last year in 2020, she did not really have many chances to go to church or even elderly center for rehab or so. So this limits her interaction with others, whether with other elderlies or other church young or old, whatever brothers and sisters as well. So, and also worsens her dementia, which is quite significant, especially because of COVID-19, because she is kind of like the vulnerable people or risky people to be infected with COVID-19, although she did not have COVID-19 when she passed away. And even worse, at the later stage of her life, she even lost her swallowing ability, which you can say it's dysphagia, what I've learned before. So before she passed away, my family, other relatives, whether as in my dad, my mom or so, and I kind of expected this, based on my grandma's condition, she would pass away at some stage. But when she actually passed away 6 days ago, Sunday morning, our memories with her continuously emerged. Either not only me as one of her grandchildren, or also my dad or my dad's brother, who spent 50-ish years of their life with him as his mother. So yeah, it's actually quite. It makes sense when you can't really forget her memories as when a person actually really passed away. So together with the easing of international border restrictions and my grandma unfortunately passed away 6 days ago, yes, I'm finally going back to Hong Kong in the midst of COVID-19 to, for grandma's situation, in this case, to attend grandma's funeral. So talking about the actual restrictions. Well, I mean, this video will focus on the requirements of like going back to Hong Kong. I did mention, yes, I do not need to travel. I mean, no longer need travel exemption to enter Australia. That's why, together with those two reasons, as I mentioned, I'm finally going back to Hong Kong. But requirements for Australia, I would mention later in probably another video as when I am actually going back from Hong Kong to Australia. So, I mean, I mentioned this about, from the government website. I will put the description in the link down below so that you can have it for your reference. So, all inbound travelers like me, before I arrive in Hong Kong, I need to submit an online health declaration form to, mention where you have been, where are you flying from, do you have relevant COVID-19 symptoms, blah, 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 and so on. And it's online, and then it will generate a QR code, and then you need to use that to check in or no. When you enter Hong Kong. So for overseas, yes, overseas, the Hong Kong government classified different places into different groups according to the relevant risk-based situation in different areas around the world. So Australia, it's classified as Group B, which is called they call it medium risk specific places. So as I have stayed in Australia, which is Group B medium risk specific places for at least 14 days, and as I've previously mentioned, I am Hong Kong resident, and I have been fully vaccinated, more than 4 months ago. Apart from the health declaration form, and also I need to take the to show proof of negative result of PCR-based nucleic acid test for COVID-19 within 72 hours. So interestingly, some places, if you are traveling from mainland China or Macau to Hong Kong, you need to show negative proof of the that PCR test just only 3 days before you come to Hong Kong, before you arrive in Hong Kong, which is different because 72 hours and 3 days can mean differently. So I'm actually flying back from Sydney to Hong Kong in 3 days time. This Tuesday, coming Tuesday, next Tuesday, November 30th, Tuesday evening. So 72 hours, which means I should have, I could do, take the test as early as now, I guess. But obviously there are not collection centers which will open until that late. So I actually went to the one in Eastwood. I already put the location of that clinic to do the COVID-19 PCR test in the description down below. From where I live here in Epping, the nearest one is in Eastwood, and I went there this morning, this afternoon, to see whether I could do. And the staff said it's actually too early because for overseas, it must be done within 72 hours. Overseas, that include Taiwan and other countries as well. If, as I mentioned, if you're traveling from mainland China or Macau to Hong Kong, you can do within 3 days. Again, Taiwan or other overseas countries like Australia, you have to do done within 72 hours. So that means this afternoon for me, it's it's actually too early for me to take negative test. That's why I will do it tomorrow Sunday, which is November 28th morning, to take the negative test. So as I mentioned, you need to submit the health declaration form, negative result proof of the PCR-based test, and also as I've been fully vaccinated, I have to undergo compulsory quarantine for 14 days, 2 weeks in a designated quarantine hotel, or they call it like DHQ. yes, I have to stay in like compulsory hotel quarantine for 14 days. I will mention which hotel I will be staying later in another video or another post as well. During that 14 days of hotel quarantine, I mean compulsory hotel quarantine, I need to undergo 4 tests. They call it professional swab sampling. So after that 14 days, I need to further again self-monitor as in to check whether I have COVID-19 symptoms in the subsequent or following 7 days. And after that, not yet the end, I still have to compulsorily, I mean, yes, there are compulsory testing on the 16th and 19th day after arrival in Hong Kong at those, again, professional swab sampling in those community testing center. Luckily, there is a community testing center, or they call it like CTC, near where I live in Hong Kong. I will mention in another video or another post. Yeah. So I haven't submit the health declaration form yet because it's too early. You can submit apply or complete the health declaration form. I think 2 days, if I'm correct, two days before your departure, and also for the compulsory testing, you can book for compulsory testing at those CTC. I think 14 days or 2 weeks before maximum. Yes. So to conclude, 1, you have to submit health declaration form, and then test negative. Of course you have to test negative for PCR test, otherwise you can't board the flight. Number 3, as I'm fully vaccinated, I do already have my vaccination record to show, to prove that you have been fully vaccinated. And then number 4, confirm booking, confirm of the room reservation in DHQ for 14 days. And then number 5, during that 14-day hotel quarantine, 4 tests, self-monitor, and then 2 more tests after you finish quarantine. So it's actually 7 tests in total. 1, it's before your flight. 4 of them, it's during the 14-day compulsory quarantine in DHQ, and 2 more after you finish quarantine in those CTC in Hong Kong. So something like, obviously, hopefully, my family, when they are also organizing the funeral, they have like different, busy schedules as well. So hopefully, God, will bring them, give them a wisdom to do so that this funeral will go smoothly, and grandma can leave, really peacefully. And also, there are some also non-Christian relatives in my family, so hopefully they can get to know Jesus as well. And yeah, tomorrow morning I will take the negative. I will take the PCR test. Hopefully, it will be negative, as it should be, I guess. Yes, normally, because I bought the one, it's not same day, because same day result, if you purchase that one, is much more expensive. And yes, if you do the PCR test, you need to do in a private clinic, not those are normal free COVID-19 testing ones. So I think the result for my one, the one I purchased, they will return the result within 24 hours, hopefully in the same day. Hopefully it should be negative, and hopefully, as I've been fully vaccinated again, I can leave after the 14-day compulsory quarantine in DHQ. Because now there's a new COVID-19 variant called, what's the name? It's called, wait, I forget. It's called O something. Yes, there is a new COVID-19 variant, so hopefully I won't be. Oh, it's actually called Omicron, Omicron, and hopefully I won't be infected during the hotel quarantine, given that I'm fully vaccinated, because my grandma's funeral, as it stands, as it's scheduled, will be 2 days after I finish quarantine. And even though I won't be infected during the hotel quarantine, I won't be considered as casual or close contact in case of other infections, as in other travelers during hotel quarantine might infect me. Hopefully I won't during quarantine, because in that case, in the worst scenario, I might need to extend my quarantine. Then I could not attend my grandma's funeral. So hopefully, mainly my PCR-based nucleic acid test tomorrow morning will return negative result, and also I can leave straight away after my 14-day compulsory hotel quarantine. Yes, so I think tomorrow I will take the the COVID-19 test in the clinic in Eastwood, which is the nearest one again of where I live, and I will. And then tomorrow I will see how I will describe like how COVID-19 testing it's like, because obviously I haven't done any COVID-19 test before since the beginning of COVID-19 last year, because I don't really need to. But again, let's see tomorrow morning how I go with the COVID-19 test in terms of how I feel or etc. Good morning, everybody. It's November 28th, Sunday. It's just a few minutes past 9:15, and I'm at this Laverty pathology clinic, the one in Eastwood. I've just taken the PCR nose and throat test. It's actually pretty simple. You just need to bring your printed form, and then for the staff to check your details, blah blah blah, and then to just open your mouth for your throat, and then and your nose, just kind of like how you pick your ear or pick your nose, and then that's it. It's actually really simple, really short time, but you have to pay for such an amount of money, which is I think 150 Aussie dollars if it's test result between in between sometime 24 hours or probably the next day. So I should get the test results by tomorrow, November 29th, Monday. Or if you want to get the same day result, that I think it's like double, which is like 300 Australian dollars, which is more expensive. And yes, because I'm traveling overseas, to Hong Kong, you have to take the COVID-19 test 72 hours. Not like if you're traveling from Macau or mainland China, you can do the test within 3 days. So yes, now I learned you have to do within 72 hours, and I've done just now. It's pretty quick. So let's see what's the test result for the PCR nucleic acid test later on. Today is November 29th, Monday. So thankfully I tested negative to COVID-19 after the test yesterday, and the test result came pretty quickly, because I thought it would be 24 to 36 hours, but thankfully it was pretty quick, because I received I did yesterday morning, and then I received the thankfully negative test the same evening, which is around 13 hours later. So that's a lot faster than my expectation. So tomorrow night, Tuesday, November 30th, I can board the flight from Sydney to Hong Kong. So basically, again, you need to before you fly to Hong Kong, you need to submit the online health declaration form, test negative to COVID-19, and show your fully vaccination record if that applies, because I am, and to confirm have your confirmation of staying in a designated quarantine hotel, DHQ, compulsory quarantine for 14 days. That applies to Australia, because one, I'm already fully vaccinated. I'm again Hong Kong resident, and I I'm traveling from Australia, which is a Group B specific place, which is a medium risk as classified by the Hong Kong government during quarantine for COVID-19 test. After 14-day quarantine, hopefully I can leave after 14 days of hotel quarantine. I won't be infected. I won't be deemed a casual or close contact of any possible case during hotel quarantine, because otherwise I might need to extend my quarantine or isolation, and I might not be able to attend my grandma's funeral, because my grandma's funeral is scheduled to be held 2 days after ideally, if I can fit and leave 14 days of quarantine. And yes, and then after that 14 day of quarantine, you still need to do 2 more COVID-19 tests at those community testing center CTC, and also self monitor any COVID-19 symptoms for the rest or subsequent 7 days. Honestly, I'm not sure how long I will be staying in Hong Kong, because the new variant, it's the Omicron variant, is kind of emerging around the world. They recently have hotel quarantine cases in Sydney and also Hong Kong, and the government already announced, if you are Australian citizen, permanent resident, or immediate family members having been to South Africa, Lesotho, Eswatini, Namibia, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Seychelles, Mozambique, or Malawi in the past 14 days, they must enter quarantine 14 days. That is regardless of if they are fully vaccinated or not. If for other travelers such as me, eligible visa, student visa, international student, if I've been to those 9 African countries, I can't even come to Australia. Although obviously I won't go to those African countries. Why? I don't know. Yes. So even though I haven't been here, or I won't be to those 9 African countries, for New South Wales specifically, if I come back to Sydney, ideally late February next year, right before next semester, uni starts. If the border restrictions, new border restrictions don't change or do not ease at that time, I will need to self-isolate. Just self-isolate, or not hotel quarantine. Self-isolate as I come back to Sydney, if by February, if the border restrictions don't change for at least 72 hours and or equivalent to 3 days. So thankfully, yes, I tested negative. But if for your prayer or other information, or hopefully if you can pray for me, it's that I can leave after a 14-day quarantine in terms of not being infected or not deemed other casual close contact of those hotel quarantine case, and then stay COVID safe with my family and friends in Hong Kong, finally meeting physically after more than 1 year and 9 months away. For me, I'm from Hong Kong, and then I can come back to Australia. Hopefully I can come back to Australia in terms of, if ideally in the scheduled date, that will be good, or if I need to come back early, that's also fine, because Cathay Pacific now, they have like a flexible system or booking system for in the midst of COVID-19, so you can have free and unlimited booking changes until the end of the year, obviously as in December 31st. From next year, as in January 2022 onwards, you can make free changes for once. So that applies to me because I'm flying. Okay, a hint, I'm obviously yes, not hint, obviously yes, I'm flying Cathay Pacific from between Sydney and Hong Kong in this situation. So hopefully things will be good, and it's quite long, so again, that's the end of the video. Hopefully you will like this video by clicking the like button, subscribe to this channel, and follow my Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. I will keep those updated during my stay in Hong Kong in terms of hotel quarantine or something else. So yeah, join me tomorrow night, November 30th, Wednesday, on my flight from Sydney to Hong Kong. See you tomorrow.